Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian, Pace reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. When you think of singer-songwriter Leon Ware, you think of some of the most prolific, sensual, erotic, and most soulful songs that he's recorded and penned for other musicians, such as Marvin Gaye to Maxwell to the Isley Brothers. The list goes on and on. Tonight, Mr. Ware makes a very rare appearance here at the Blue Note tonight, and he's going to perform selections off his latest CD as well as some of those famous songs that he's penned for some great artists. Tonight we're going to sit down and have a very candid talk about him growing up in Detroit, Michigan, him working for the legendary Marvin Gaye and Berry Gordy and Motown Records. We're also going to sit down and talk about where he seeks his inspiration to write some of these beautiful and sensual songs. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of the legendary Mr. Leon Ware.
It's cold, could we do it? I wanna go with you, so we can kick a little. Something, if it's cool, we can do a little something. I wanna go with you, so we can kick a little. Even though she claims me no attention, all I wanna know is her affection. Lose myself inside her river train. She's so sweet, and she ain't even checking me. And she's thinking that so cool. We can do a little something. Let me move with you, so we can kick a little. Oh, how to do? She was not the dumper. A sister with a certain something. A flavor with a cocoa kind of love. So honey, I know you gonna act like you know.
And you started off with a group called the Romeos back in Detroit, and Lamont Dozier, who would turn around and be another prolific songwriter with his brothers.
I became a popular songwriter because I had a group with him, as you said, called the Romeos. We split up, and 3 years later I ran into Lamont. It was like 1959, right around 1960, 61, because I had left Detroit, went to New York, came back 1962 because my father passed away. And I started really writing songs then, but not songs that were popular songs because I was so deep into jazz. But I seen the lesser appreciation and financial rewards coming to R&B writers, R&B singers, as opposed to jazz writers and jazz singers. And that's still true, unfortunately. As cockeyed as that is, because the people that you look at as jazz singers or jazz musicians, to become that, you exercise the same proficiency as a classical musician or student, and to have that degree of talent and the process and the time it takes to reach that quality should be more appreciated, more rewarded, But unfortunately, now the world has gravitated to a place where excellence is, the word of it in itself has been polluted, you know. And the children of this era are not challenged. They're not challenged. I did a few classes at NYU a few years ago. I asked a question. For 6 classes, there was a couple classes, questions I asked in each class. Only in the last class, I did 6 classes, where 2 of the kids that had been to a couple of my other sessions answered the question, because the question was, what did you hear this year that compelled you? 0. I told him, I said, reason why I asked the question is my effort to make something really clear. That if I had asked that question 30 years ago, both hands would have been up, because you had Earth, Wind, and Fire, The Kiss, OJ's, Four Tops,
Isley Brothers.
Isley Brothers. What I'm talking about, in short, is you had identifiable artists that had their own thing, but you come up 30 years, real talented young people are doing more sampling than they are writing from their heart, because this era isn't asking them to dig in deep. In fact, I've been working with some young men that started out about 8, 9 years ago. I took to Japan with me because I met them, and they had invited me to a club that's called Catalina's in LA to hear them play. And my back was turned when I was talking to the owner and manager of the club when they started playing. And when I turned around Brian, I said this to people. I said the only thing that was missing on those guys was diapers. They were so fucking young, man. I'm saying to myself, I said, God damn. And they want to work with me. And the leader of the group walks up to me and says, well, what did you think? I said, what do you think, Mr. Ware? I said, what do I think? I said, you guys, what are you doing? And they were calling themselves at the time Young Jazz Giants. It had fit them. But again, in a world, and that was 8 years, almost 9 years ago, in the world that we live in now, young men that are that gifted are asked to dumb down. Do something like Puffy, do something like Jay-Z, or do something like Prince, or, what you call popular music. Talent that really could elaborate and grow and give the world some really brilliant work. And then you've got a whole lot of dumbing down and almost confusing outlooks from American Idol to the different challenge shows that they got now. True, you find some decent voices and some talented young people. The only thing they're not telling some young people, that's a reality. You can't win being an artist.
Keep on lying. Don't tell the truth. Don't you dare. You can't drop me, 'cause you still got me. After taking me way up there.
What gives you the inspiration and the muse to write about love and sensuality?
I feel it's important to say and do something that people use, and it becomes a process, if you want to call it, because I'm learning, and I hope that what I'm saying is a process of learning to them that listen. And I hope from my endless inspiration, because I'm endlessly inspired because of knowing how much the message of love, sincere, true love, is needed. And I'm never lost for ideas. I've never had a writing block. I'm just as prolific as I've ever been. I don't turn in music as much as I do for as sending out to different artists or whatever. In the past 10 years, almost none. My appreciation for the marketplace, or I'd say my disappointment for the marketplace that no longer exists, is one reason why I don't turn anything in. But as I say, I'm always endlessly inspired because the need for what I'm saying, as I was talking to you earlier about messages, the messages that I'm relaying, I not only feel that they're important, I know they are important. And the rest is just like looking for just my pleasure would be in knowing that what I'm saying is honestly felt and sincerely cherished and taken to a heart where it's the listeners take it in, they use it how it fits in their life, as opposed to me teaching somebody a way to do something. I give them the ideas, and the ideas usually, when a person, especially if you're creative, if you get an idea, then you can take an idea and transform it into what you want it to be. And that's pretty much my premise, because it would be kind of selfish for me to say that what I'm saying is right for one person or another. It's right for me, but I truly feel that you say something and it's like painting an idea, giving a suggestion, opening up a door of ideas that maybe that person or them people have not heard before. And fortunately, I get a 100% approval pretty much wherever I'm at from all kind of people too. I mean, all races of people. So it lets me know, just like music, what I'm saying in my songs and my demeanor is not being misunderstood. The only thing that's busy about doing now is finding me an agent that can really take what I have as an artist and put me in contact, put me on shows that will magnify my image to a place where I become busy without looking for it, and that happens once you get good people working with you, know how to sell what you're selling, if you want to say, know how to magnify your qualities, your service, and the rest is there's no secrets. It's a lot of different things that make things really get off the ground, and I'm patient.
Leon, one of your most important partnerships was with a man by the name of Marvin Gaye, and you recorded an album and produced and wrote some music that pretty much changed the dynamic of his musicianship as well as how people perceived him both in the sexual and spiritual content. How hard and how easy was it to write I Want You and the music for that album?
The music in the I Want You album was done before I met Marvin. What happened with that album was Marvin fell in love with the music so much that the year that it took us, the year and a month that it took us for him to put his spirit on the music was so easy, Brian. Again, I've said to a lot of people, easiest project, most fun. I learned more. I earned more than any project I've ever had in my life. Maybe not financially, because I've never really been paid for I Want You. Some people find that hard to believe, but Barry and Motown were and have been very, let's say, not only slick, but very knowledgeable of how to, let's say, cheat some of the artists that and artistic people that were working with him. And that's not an old story. But what's interesting now is how many young people now are so savvy, so business savvy, and so farther down the line of the business moves and the percentages and all the legalities that go on in this business that can earn you a very sizable sum. That sizable sum, I was more concerned with the sizable sum, the amount of songs I was writing. I figured that with the world and my peers endorsing me like they have, is pretty much put me in a position of any rich man in a way of speaking, because I don't really have to worry about anything. You know, my name and my work exceeds me almost. You know, I mean, I'm who I am because of what I've done, but as far as me reaping the rewards on a financial level of my talent, maybe somebody will come along that will help me do that. I've not been that interested in that either.
The record started off as your demos, and then you said Marvin really liked the album.
No. The record, that collaboration, the record was done. The strings, the horns, all the music was done. The only thing that was changed was Marvin's interpretation and his magic that made what I feel is, what I had was a hit. What Marvin did to what I had made it a classic. So I'm never more grateful, never more proud of making the decision that had nothing to do with percentages. As I say, and I've said to people, out of all of my work and collaborations for the past almost 50 years, more than 50 years actually, that was the only relationship that took a year to do, 13 months before we turned it in. And we never, ever, we had never a conversation about percentages. And that taught me that people in the business, because to me and Marvin never discussed it. And to me, I say to people, I think from that, I learned that some talented people can get together and get the best out of each other when they go to a level where me and Marvin went, because we were so impressed with each other's talent that I think we instinctively, because I don't think it was thought about, we instinctively never really wanted to go there. We didn't want to fuck shit up.
Baby, to the side we did. You, baby, you found out the touch of your life, baby. Oh, I what the vibes between you and me. We could be walking, we could be talking, but then you'll say you need mama, baby. Nobody else said, nobody but mama. That's how I feel about you. I want you to take me with you. What you gonna do? I want you, and you want me. So why don't we get together after the day? Oh, I want you every day. I don't even know your name. So why don't we get together after the day? I want you, and you want me. So why don't we get together after the day? I don't want your number.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank Mr. Leon Ware for his time, as well as the staff and management here at the Blue Note. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.